You bought a fish for bottom cleaning. You woke up in the morning. Plants uprooted. Decor knocked over. A fish missing. That helpful fish destroyed everything. This scenario plays out every single day. Because bottom dwellers are the most misunderstood category in the hobby, they get sold with labels like cleaner, peaceful, community-friendly, and every one of those labels eventually turns out to be wrong. Today we're going to go through these fish one by one, why they look deceiving, what they actually do, and at the end of the video, the alternatives that genuinely work and are genuinely manageable. There's one fish on this list that is calm during the day and a killer at night. You'll understand when we get there. Chinese algae eater. Young or old? In the store, it's small, sleek, gliding along the glass, eating algae, cleaning. Looks like the perfect helper. And for the first few months, it genuinely is. But then something changes. As the Chinese algae eater grows, it loses interest in algae. Its diet shifts. It starts preferring protein. And where does it find that protein? From its tank mates. Discus, angelfish, goldfish, fish with large, slow, flat bodies. When the Chinese algae eater grows out, it latches onto these fish, grips them with its mouth, and feeds on the protective mucus layer known as the slime coat. That layer is the fish's immune system. Once it's gone, the fish is left defenseless. Infection sets in. And while you're wondering, why did it get sick? The culprit was sitting quietly in the corner of the tank the whole time. Adult size, 8 to 11 inches. Nobody tells you that. You do have an alternative, the Siamese algae eater. Visually similar, but the story is completely different. It keeps eating algae as it ages and leaves tank mates alone. But there's a far more deceptive fish still on this list. Pictus catfish. Calm by day, different by night. Striking to look at. Silver body, black spots, long whiskers. During the day, it sits in its corner, barely moves, gives the impression of a calm, peaceful bottom dweller. When the lights go out, everything changes. The Pictus catfish is naturally nocturnal, and when it's active at night, there's one rule. Anything that fits in its mouth is food. Neon tetras, guppies, small rasboras, all of them fall into that category. You look at the tank in the morning and a fish is missing. You can't figure out why, because the culprit is asleep, in its corner, calm. There's also this. The spines on the Pictus catfish's dorsal fin are mildly toxic. When you try to catch it with a net, the spine catches, snaps, and pierces your hand. Pain and swelling are guaranteed. Any tank mate under 5 inches is at risk. That's the minimum safe size for a tank companion. Up next is a fish that channel regulars will recognize well. Common Pleco. We've covered this one before. We went into detail on this in previous videos. Anyone interested can check those out on the channel. Quick reminder, in the store, 2 inches. At adulthood, 20 to 24 inches. And along the way, it destroys the tank's water chemistry, its plants, and its decor. If you haven't seen that video yet, it's worth watching. But there are far less well-known dangers still on this list. Clown loach. A schooling fish without its school is a disaster. Orange and black stripes. Active, curious, fun to watch. And it gets sold as ideal for beginners. 2 critical pieces of information get left out. First, the clown loach is a schooling fish. You need to start with at least 5. When kept alone or in pairs, it falls into chronic stress. It becomes less active. Its color fades. It sits in the corner and waits. And a stressed clown loach is extremely vulnerable to disease. This species is particularly susceptible to ick, white spot disease. Treatment is its own separate problem because the clown loach doesn't tolerate many standard medications. Salt and certain chemicals can actually kill this species. Second, adult size is 12 to 16 inches. 5 of them, all 12 to 16 inches. That combination needs a minimum of 130 gallons, and these fish live for 15 to 25 years. That's a long-term commitment. Nobody at the store tells you any of this. Beautiful, active fish is what you hear, so you buy it. But the most unexpected fish on this list is still coming. Iridescent shark. Named like a fish, actually a catfish. The name says shark, but this is a catfish. In the store, 4 to 6 inches. Metallic, elegant, fast. Looks like an active bottom dweller. Adult size, 40 to 50 inches. A 3 to 4 foot catfish. This fish needs a minimum of 500 gallons. For most homes, that's simply not possible. But size isn't the only problem. The iridescent shark is an extremely skittish species. Every sudden movement, every shadow, every unexpected sound triggers a panic response. And a panicking iridescent shark slams into the glass, hard, repeatedly. The glass doesn't break, but the fish gets seriously injured. Its snout scales away, its eyes get damaged. These injuries open the door to infection. And there's also this. This fish grows fast. Within 2 years, it fills the tank. At that point, what are you going to do? The clown loach and the iridescent shark look like different problems, but behind both of them is the same truth. Look at the label on every fish on this list. Chinese algae eater, algae cleaner, community friendly, Pictus catfish, peaceful, suitable for community tanks, clown loach, peaceful, active, colorful, iridescent shark, active, interesting bottom dweller. All of it is true when they're small, short-term, under the right conditions. But as they grow, as they mature, as their real needs emerge, the picture changes completely. And that change always begins the same way. You look at the tank in the morning. Something is missing or wrong, and you can't figure out why. So are there bottom dwellers that actually work? The alternatives exist. You want to fill the bottom zone. You want a species that cleans, stays calm, and is manageable. These species exist, and most of them are far easier than anything on this list. Bristlenose Pleco, the manageable version of the common Pleco, maximum 5 inches, actually eats algae, leaves plants alone, peaceful in smaller tanks. Corydoras, the gold standard of the aquarium world, calm, schooling, constantly exploring the substrate, sensitive to water chemistry, which makes them an excellent early warning system. Start with at least 6. Loach, slender, snake-like, nocturnal, but calm, doesn't bother other fish, eats leftover food, cleans the substrate, much more at ease in small groups. Iridescent, small, peaceful, genuinely eats algae, and keeps doing it into adulthood, the exact opposite of the Chinese algae eater, demands careful water chemistry, but delivers in return. None of these 4 alternatives come with the cleaner mythology attached. You know what they actually do, what they need, and how large they get. And that information is enough for every decision. You put a fish in the bottom of the tank to clean things up, to be helpful. Now you know. That label isn't always accurate. The Chinese algae eater eventually targets its tank mates. The Pictus catfish eats smaller fish at night. The clown loach needs 5 of them and reaches 16 inches. The iridescent shark hits 4 feet and slams into the glass. But knowing all of this means you can pick the right fish off that shelf. Have you bought any of these? Or were you about to and something made you stop? Write it in the comments. In the next video, I'll be covering which fish you can keep in a tank as small as 5 gallons. If you don't want to miss it, you know what to do. See you under the water.